Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into a challenge that's really fundamental to crypto's future. Something that's, well, holding back its true potential.
Yeah.
Picture this. It's 2024, and we're navigating this huge digital galaxy, right? Over 13,000 cryptocurrencies.
Incredible number.
Scattered across more than 1,000 distinct blockchain networks. I mean, that's amazing innovation.
It is, definitely.
But here's the catch, right? If all these unique networks exist just on their own, in isolation, it means digital assets, crucial information, it's all essentially trapped, stuck within their own digital borders.
Exactly. It severely limits their utility.
And ultimately, it hinders widespread adoption.
It really does. It's kind of like building, I don't know, thousands of super advanced cities, right? Each with its own unique language, its own rules.
Okay.
But with absolutely no roads or bridges connecting them. No way to communicate.
That's a great analogy.
And the consequence of this fragmentation, it's not just like an inconvenience. It's a massive problem.
Right.
It stops efficient data sharing.
Oh,
It makes truly collaborative global applications almost impossible to build.
And that's exactly where blockchain interoperability comes in. It's positioned as the necessary solution.
The essential solution.
We're talking about enabling seamless communication, data transfers, value transfers between these isolated networks. Basically, the ability for different systems, different protocols, different platforms to just work together.
Right, without needing some central company in the middle.
Exactly. No centralized middlemen.
Yeah.
So our mission today is to unpack why this isn't just some technical upgrade.
It's much more than that.
It's crucial for the future of decentralized finance, DeFi, you know, that whole financial ecosystem on blockchain without intermediaries.
Yeah.
And just the broader digital economy.
Yeah.
We'll explore the sort of the core mechanics making it possible, look at real world applications.
And the challenges, too. We have to talk about those.
Oh, definitely. We'll confront the significant challenges.
And then we'll take a really timely, closer look at a fascinating example that's happening right now.
Which is?
The collaborations popping up between Cardano and XRP. Two very different ecosystems.
Yeah, interesting. So this isn't just about getting bogged down in technical jargon. This deep dive is about, unlocking massive potential.
Creating those aha moments.
And giving you a clear understanding of how these digital worlds that used to be completely separate are finally starting to connect.
It means more flexibility, more liquidity, and honestly just a much better user experience down the line.
It's the infrastructure that fundamentally reshapes trust, moving from, don't be evil to can't be evil through transparent systems.
That's a good way to put it.
So let's peel back the layers. We've hinted at it, but let's really dig into the why. Why does blockchain interoperability matter so much? What's the deeper implication beyond just saying things are fragmented?
Well, like we said, the diversity itself is incredible. But each blockchain, it operates with its own unique rule set. Right? Its own data formats, its own consensus mechanism.
Right, like you mentioned XRP's Federated Byzantine Agreement versus Cardano's Proof of Stake. Very different.
Totally different. And they even use different smart contract languages. You've got Solidity on Ethereum, Rust for Solana, Haskell for Cardano.
Okay.
This diversity, while it drives innovation in some ways, it actively prevents efficient data sharing. It stops collaborative apps. It keeps capital and data locked up.
Locked in these separate digital vaults.
Pretty much.
And for the everyday user, you listening, this just means a frustrating experience, often overwhelming, frankly.
Oh, definitely. You're forced to juggle, multiple wallets?
Yeah.
Maintain different accounts across networks, try to learn all this new terminology constantly.
It's a massive barrier. Mass adoption just can't happen easily like that.
And this also brings us straight to scalability, which is a fundamental challenge.
The speed issue.
Exactly. Most big blockchain networks, despite their ambitions, have pretty limited processing power. Bitcoin, what is it, like 7 transactions per second?
Roughly, yeah. Ethereum, layer 1, maybe 20, 30 TPS.
Right. And then you compare that to something like Visa, which can handle maybe 24,000 TPS.
That's a huge gap.
It's an enormous gap. If we're seriously talking about building a global digital economy on this tech, that bottleneck has to be addressed.
So how does interoperability help there?
Well, interoperability lets you distribute the transaction load across multiple chains.
Okay. Spread the work out.
Exactly. Which naturally reduces congestion on any single chain, and that usually means lower transaction costs too.
Right. It's like going from dial-up speed to fiber optics for moving value around. You mentioned Polygon earlier as an example.
Yeah, Polygon's a great example. It's a layer 2 scaling solution for Ethereum. It uses this Stark-based ZK rollup called Midden.
Okay.
They can handle somewhere between 1,000 to 2,000 TPS.
Why?
With potential to hit maybe 20,000 TPS. So it lets developers basically outsource heavy computation or lots of transactions to these more scalable, cheaper chains, offload the work.
Ultimately, then, the market is demanding solutions that are efficient, scalable, and crucially, user-friendly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The end goal, the vision, is to get rid of the need for you to manage all these separate wallets, separate accounts, learn all these different interfaces.
You shouldn't even have to know what chain you're on, ideally.
Exactly. Interoperability is the key to unlocking that seamless, almost invisible experience.
Okay, so we get why it's so critical. Non-negotiable, really. But the big question is how? How do we actually build these bridges between these different blockchain islands? Let's get into the nuts and bolts, the mechanics and frameworks that make it work. Where do we start?
Well, the foundation is really these cross-chain protocols. Think of them as the standardized rule books for how different networks talk to each other.
Okay, like establishing a common language.
Sort of, yeah.
Huh.
Chainlink CCIP, that's their cross-chain interoperability protocol, is a really good example. It uses Chainlink's decentralized Oracle network for secure messaging and token transfers. And it's not just crypto projects using it. Even traditional banks like ANZ are using CCIP for stablecoin transfers.
That's significant adoption. What else?
There's Wormhole. That enables communication and moving assets across, I think it's over 30 networks now, including big ones like Ethereum and Solana.
Sure.
Lido, the liquid staking platform, uses Wormhole's tech for its token bridges.
And what about Cosmos? That whole ecosystem is built around this idea of interconnected chains, isn't it?
Exactly. Cosmos's IBC, the Inter-Blockchain Communication Protocol, is fundamental there. It standardizes how data gets exchanged between independent blockchains in their ecosystem.
So DXs like Osmosis use that for cross-chain trading.
Right. And projects like Picasso are working on extending IBC's reach beyond Cosmos, connecting it to places like Ethereum, Solana, and Polkadot.
Okay.
Then you have things like Axelar's general message passing, GMP. That offers even more flexibility. It lets developers basically call any function on any connected chain.
Enhancing composability, basically making things work together more easily.
Precisely. Squid, for example, uses GMP to find the best routes for cross-chain swaps.
So those are the protocols. What about sidechains? We hear that term a lot. How do they fit into this interoperability picture?
Sidechains run alongside a main blockchain, like Ethereum. They process transactions independently, often using their own consensus rules.
So they take some load off the main chain.
That's a big plus of their value, yeah. They reduce congestion by handling intensive processes. Think of Polygon Portal or Arbitrum as examples acting like express lanes for Ethereum.
Okay.
They also make it easier to move assets back and forth using things called two-way pegs like RSK does with Bitcoin. And sometimes they can stay connected to the main chain and even inherit some of its security like Optimism does.
Got it. And then we have the most literal connection, blockchain bridges. They actually connect different networks to let assets flow between them. Sounds simple, but I suspect it's more complex.
Oh, bridges are. Well, they're absolutely critical arteries for interoperability. But they're also its biggest vulnerability right now.
The Achilles heel, you could say.
Definitely. We talk about trusted versus trustless bridges, and it's not just jargon. It's a fundamental trade-off.
Between what?
Between centralization, speed, and security. Trusted bridges rely on centralized parties. They're often faster, maybe easier to use.
But riskier.
But they create a single point of failure, a huge target. That's where we've seen billions lost in hacks.
Right.
Trustless bridges, on the other hand, are decentralized. They use smart contracts, cryptographic proofs for security.
Sounds better.
In theory, yes, they distribute the risk, but they often come with their own complexities. They can be slower, more expensive sometimes. Think of Portal as an example. It's this constant tension, trying to build bridges that are both scalable and secure.
It's a tough balance. And finally, atomic swaps. How do they work?
Atomic swaps are about direct, peer-to-peer exchanges across blockchains. No intermediaries at all.
How do they guarantee the trade?
They use something called hash time-locked contracts, or HTLCs. These are basically smart contracts that enforce the deal.
Okay.
Either the trade happens exactly as agreed, both sides get what they expect, or the whole thing is canceled and everyone gets their original assets back automatically.
So no counterparty risk.
Exactly. The time lock ensures funds are returned if the trade isn't completed within a specific window. Komodo's Atomic DX is a well-known example using this tech.
Okay, so those are the core components. But there are also bigger frameworks that combine these ideas, right? Like Polkadot.
Yeah, Polkadot's a great example. It uses a central relay chain to connect multiple independent blockchains they call parachains.
Okay.
This allows them all to communicate and share data securely. It fosters this modular design where chains can specialize but still interconnect.
And LayerZero. That sounds ambitious.
LayerZero aims to be an on-the-chain protocol. The idea is to connect lots of different blockchains so they act like one unified system, enabling messaging and liquidity sharing without needing traditional bridges.
It's interesting. And Cardano, as we started to discuss, has its own distinct take on this.
It does. Cardano talks about partner chains. They see this as a more sophisticated solution than simple bridges.
How so?
The idea is these partner chains can offer specific services, like privacy, to the main Cardano chain. And they can enable what they call hybrid dApps for really complex cross-chain actions, maybe without even needing to wrap tokens in the usual way.
Okay, that paints a clearer picture of the how. So let's connect this back. Why does all this technical stuff matter to you, the listener? What are the actual use cases popping up? Let's start with DeFi, decentralized finance. Seems like ground zero for this.
Oh, DeFi is hugely impacted by interoperability. Massively. It enables things like true cross-chain lending.
Like using Bitcoin to borrow stablecoins on Ethereum.
Exactly, like Ava lets you do. You also get much more powerful multi-chain trading systems. Think Thorchain for swapping native assets directly.
Or 1inch pulling liquidity from everywhere.
Right. Aggregating liquidity across tons of chains. And this all leads to more unified liquidity pools, making capital work much more efficiently across the whole DeFi space. Curve is a big player there.
And it's not just DeFi, is it? Interoperability is making waves in enterprise solutions too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not just for crypto enthusiasts anymore. Think about supply chain management.
Okay.
Walmart uses Ledger for cross-network tracking. Imagine the transparency that brings to complex global supply chains.
Right, being able to track goods across different systems seamlessly.
Exactly. Or IBM's blockchain platform, creating secure, shared data spaces for companies to collaborate. Wanchain uses multi-chain tracking combined with IoT devices for verifying assets in real time.
And for us, just as users managing our own digital assets, how does it simplify things?
It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
It means easier NFT transfers across different blockchains, using cross-chain NFT bridges or platforms like NFT.com. Simpler token swaps using protocols like Chainlink CCIP. And it really improves asset portability, being able to use your assets or even your identity across different chains. Bravado.id is working on that for cross-chain collateral and identity.
That's powerful. And you mentioned it's even starting to impact governance, DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations.
Yeah, that's a really interesting emerging area. Cross-chain governance could allow for much more flexible, more inclusive decision-making processes that span multiple blockchain communities.
Yeah.
The potential for truly distributed leadership there is huge.
Wow. Okay, this all paints a picture of a super connected, efficient digital future. But we have to address there are major challenges, serious limitations. Security is the elephant in the room, isn't it?
Yeah.
The hack statistics are pretty grim.
They are grim. The amount of money lost is just staggering. What was the figure? $2.87 billion hacked just from bridges since 2016.
Billion, with a B.
Yeah. And that's nearly a third of all blockchain hacks in that period. It's huge.
And DeFi seems particularly vulnerable.
Over 82% of all attacks in 2022 were on DeFi protocols, and specifically cross-chain bridge protocols. They accounted for 64% of the money lost by DeFi platforms.
So bridges are the weakest link right now?
Statistically, yes. It still feels a bit like the Wild West sometimes when it comes to bridge security.
What kinds of attacks are most common? What are these hackers exploiting?
Well, you see a few common patterns: rug pulls or exit scams where the developers just vanish with the funds.
Yeah.
Flash loan attacks where attackers borrow huge sums for an instant to manipulate prices or exploit protocol logic.
Right.
Arbitrage exploitation, but done maliciously. And then, of course, vulnerabilities in the smart contracts themselves, things like reentrancy bugs or integer overflows. It's a constant battle.
Beyond the direct hacks, how does the sheer technical complexity we talked about earlier, different languages, consensus methods, hold things back?
It's a massive hurdle because everything is so different. The programming languages, the consensus rules, the whole architecture of each chain. It makes truly seamless interoperability incredibly difficult.
And that leads to performance issues.
Absolutely. Discrepancies between chains, say in how fast they confirm transactions, can lead to significant delays. It can lower the overall throughput and drive up costs when you try to interact across chains. You can't just magically plug incompatible systems together and expect them to work perfectly.
So with all these different systems, is a big part of the problem just getting everyone to agree on standards, like a common language for blockchains?
That's a really critical point.
Yeah.
There isn't one universally accepted framework for cross-chain communication. No single standard.
Which makes building universal tools really hard.
Exactly. It makes it incredibly challenging to develop solutions that work reliably across all the different ecosystems.
And does this lack of standardization complicate regulation, too?
Oh, definitely. You have varying regulations in different countries, different jurisdictions. This creates loopholes. It hinders cooperation between projects and even governments. And it poses huge challenges for things like AML, anti-money laundering, and KYC, know your customer.
Regulators are trying to figure it out.
They're grappling with it. How do you govern activity that happens between blockchains, potentially across borders, while still respecting the core crypto values like decentralization? It's a massive legal and technical puzzle.
Okay, let's pivot to the case study. This is where it gets really concrete. The collaborations between Cardano and XRP. Now, the context here is key, right? The XRP Ledger, XRPL, it doesn't natively support smart contracts.
Correct. That's a fundamental limitation for things like complex DeFi.
Whereas Cardano, ADA, is this research-heavy proof-of-stake blockchain known specifically for its methodical development and smart contract capabilities.
Very different approaches, very different strengths.
So the big question is, how do these two distinct ecosystems actually connect to unlock new value, especially for DeFi applications?
And what's really interesting is who is pushing for this. Charles Hoskinson, Cardano's founder, has been very vocal about wanting to bridge these two worlds.
What's his goal there?
His stated aim is pretty ambitious to bring the higher yields available in DeFi to XRP holders. And at the same time, attract more developers and activity to the Cardano ecosystem by tapping into the XRP community and liquidity.
And Ripple seems receptive.
Apparently so. Reports mention discussions between Hoskinson and top Ripple execs like CTO David Schwartz and CEO Brad Garlinghouse. That kind of dialogue between potential competitors is significant. It suggests a move away from just tribalism.
Towards collaboration, maybe cooperative economics?
Potentially, yeah. It's a fascinating dynamic.
So what actual integrations have we seen come out of this? What are the tangible results so far?
Okay, one really big step was the OneChain Bridge. That launched, I believe, in March 2025.
Wanchain, okay, what does it do?
It creates a direct, decentralized connection between Cardano, ADA, and the XRP Ledger, XRPL. It uses some sophisticated tech like decentralized key generation and secure multi-party computation MPC to keep things secure.
Right.
And crucially, it preserves the value of the assets being moved, wrapped XRP and wrapped ADA. So users can actually send ADA over to the XRPL ecosystem or send XRP over to Cardano.
Opening up liquidity and DeFi possibilities for both sides.
Exactly. Enhancing liquidity, enabling new DeFi use cases. And apparently, there are ongoing talks about integrating Ripple's upcoming stablecoin, RLUSD, via this bridge too.
Wow. Okay. What about wallets? That's where users interact directly.
Good point. The Tokyo wallet integration was announced pretty recently, July 16th, 2025.
Tokyo wallet. Cardano's wallet.
Yeah, Tokyo is Cardano's multi-chain smart wallet. It already supported Bitcoin and Cardano, and now they're planning to integrate the XRP Ledger.
So managing multiple assets from one place.
Exactly. The goal is seamless access across major networks. They even mentioned SUI integration. It expands Cardano's reach in Web3. Tokyo offers self-custody, live prices, swaps, and they're even planning a MasterCard-powered virtual card for spending crypto.
Simplifying that user experience again.
That's the aim.
So the overall push seems to be about bringing XRP into the wider DeFi world. Are other projects helping with that?
Definitely. Flare Network is another key player here. It's a full-stack Layer 1 blockchain.
And how does Flare connect to XRP?
Flare launched its bridge for XRP to DeFi back in June 2025. They create something called facets.
Facets.
Yeah, they're fully collateralized representations of assets from chains that don't have smart contracts like XRP. So they create FXRP, which is basically a wrapped version of XRP.
And what can you do with FXRP?
You can deploy it in Flare's own DeFi protocols. You can stake FXRP to earn yield, getting back STXRP, which is a liquid staking token. So it lets XRP holders earn passive income through DeFi.
Is this attracting serious users?
It seems so. They've highlighted engagement from institutional players. Uphold, the exchange, which holds a ton of XRP, over 1.8 billion.
Wow.
And even a NASDAQ-listed company, Vivo Power, talking about a $100 million XRP deployment into Flare's Facets ecosystem. That's significant capital movement.
It really is. And the XRP Ledger itself isn't standing still, right? What about the XRPL EVM Sidechain?
Ah, yes, there's a huge development for the XRPL ecosystem itself. The mainnet for the EVM Sidechain launched June 30th, 2025.
EVM meaning Ethereum Virtual Machine Compatible.
Exactly. It brings Ethereum-compatible smart contracts and applications directly to the XRP Ledger world.
How does it work?
It's a sidechain, so it runs alongside the main XRPL. It actually uses XRP as its native token for gas fees.
Right.
It's connected via the XLR bridge we mentioned earlier.
And performance?
Pretty impressive stats claimed.
Yeah.
Low transaction costs less than a cent. High speeds over 1,000 transactions per second. And fast lock times, around 3 to 5 seconds.
Built with Cosmos tech.
Yeah, built with the Cosmos SDK. So developers can deploy their existing Solidity dApps, leveraging XRP liquidity, but in an environment they're familiar with. It's positioned as the ideal home for DeFi on XRPL.
Okay, fascinating. Now let's shift back to Cardano's side of things, specifically their big privacy project, the Midnight Sidechain. Hoskinson introduced this back in 2022. What's the core idea?
Midnight is all about bringing privacy to blockchain, but in a controlled way. They call it rational privacy.
Rational privacy, meaning?
Meaning users get to choose what data they share, rather than the default being everything is public on the ledger. Selective disclosure.
How do they achieve that technically?
It's a sidechain developed by IOG, Cardano's R&D arm. It uses an extended version of the UTXO model for private smart contracts without needing changes to Cardano's main layer. And it relies heavily on zero-knowledge proofs, ZKPs, for confidential transactions and contracts.
Now, Cardano's main language is Haskell, which has a reputation for being challenging for some developers. How does Midnight address that?
That's a really key point for adoption. Midnight's programming language is called Compact, and it's based on TypeScript.
TypeScript, like JavaScript.
Exactly. Much more familiar territory for a huge pool of web developers. It lowers the barrier to entry significantly compared to Haskell.
Smart move. And it has its own tokens.
It does, a dual token model, actually. There's Knight HT, which is for governance and staking, and DUST, which is the utility token used for paying transaction fees on Midnight.
Okay.
And a really notable detail, they stated that 100% of the initial Knight HT tokens are for the community. No VCs involved in the initial allocation.
That's a strong statement about decentralization.
It really is.
So how does Midnight specifically connect to the XRP integration we've been discussing?
This is where Hoskinson's proposal gets really interesting. He positions Midnight as a potential DeFi layer for XRP.
Okay, how would that work?
The idea is XRP holders could bridge their XRP over to the Midnight sidechain. Once there, they could access DeFi protocols built on Midnight yield farming, staking, providing liquidity, all within the Cardano ecosystem, but using their XRP.
So getting real DeFi rewards, as you put it, not just speculating on price.
Exactly. It lets them use their XRP holdings in DeFi, even though the native XRP ledger doesn't support those kinds of smart contracts directly.
And I remember reading about a massive airdrop to kickstart this, the Glacier Drop.
That's right. The Glacier Drop was a pretty historic event in July 2025. A huge multi-chain airdrop.
How big?
They're distributing 24 billion INHT tokens.
Billion again?
Yep. To over 37 million eligible wallets across 8 major blockchains.
Including XRP and Cardano?
Including XRP, Cardano, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, BNB Chain, Avalanche, and even Basic Attention Token, BAD.
Wow. So how did XRP holders qualify?
XRP holders who had at least $100 worth of XRP on a specific date, June 11th, 2025, were eligible to claim a share. There were 7.2 billion 90HT tokens allocated specifically for the non-Cardano Bitcoin chains, including XRP.
And the tokens unlock gradually.
Yeah, over 360 days. It's clearly designed to incentivize holding, encourage early adoption, and really foster that cross-chain engagement right from the start.
This commitment to integrating XRP seems to go beyond just Midnight, touching other parts of the Cardano ecosystem too.
That's right. Cardano's main wallet, Lace, is also set to integrate XRP support.
So users can manage ADA, Bitcoin, and XRP all in Lace.
Exactly. Simplifying asset management from a single interface. Plus, those discussions we mentioned earlier about porting Ripple's stablecoin, RLUSD, to Cardano, that would likely happen via Midnight.
Which could be huge for Cardano's TVL, total value locked.
Potentially massive. And it would provide much-needed stablecoin options for dApps within the Cardano ecosystem.
And Midnight is just the first example of a broader concept for Cardano, this idea of partner chains.
Precisely. Midnight is positioned as the very first partner chain. The concept goes beyond simple bridges.
How so?
The vision is that these partner chains can act as specialized service layers for Cardano. Midnight provides privacy services, for instance.
Okay.
And they could enable these hybrid dApps that perform complex actions across chains, potentially almost atomically, without needing to constantly wrap and unwrap tokens.
And security. How are partner chains secured?
They are secured by Cardano's existing stake pool operators, SPOs. SPOs can choose to also become validators for partner chains like Midnight and earn additional rewards. It creates this deeply integrated security model.
It's a very ambitious vision.
It is, and Hoskinson has even hinted this partner chain model could eventually be used to unlock DeFi on Bitcoin, with Cardano acting as the smart contract layer.
Wow. Okay, so stepping back, what does all this mean for you, the listener? What's the big picture takeaway for the future of Web3?
The big picture is that blockchain interoperability isn't just a nice-to-have technical feature. It's absolutely essential for mainstream adoption of Web3.
It's the key driver.
It's driving innovation, it's solving the scalability puzzle, and it's going to radically improve the user experience. It's about building a truly interconnected, much more robust blockchain ecosystem, breaking down those silos for good.
And looking ahead, what trends should we expect?
I think we'll see continued development in these modular and composable architectures. Blockchains that specialize in doing one thing really well, but can still communicate seamlessly with others.
And ongoing work on the core challenges.
Absolutely. Continuous research and development focused on improving security, especially bridge security scalability and overall usability. The field is maturing, but there's still work to do.
For any developers listening in, this space sounds incredibly dynamic, but maybe a bit daunting. What's the best way to get involved? Where should they focus?
First things first, build a strong foundation. Really understand the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Learn Solidity, grasp different consensus mechanisms, proof of work, proof of stake, BFT variants, study the different interoperability approaches, bridges, message passing, state verification.
And maybe TypeScript, given Midnight's compact language.
Yeah, that's a great point. Midnight using TypeScript via Compact offers a really accessible entry point for a lot of developers coming from web development.
What about tools?
Choose your tools wisely. Use reliable development toolkits like Foundry for Ethereum work. And when choosing protocols to build on or integrate with, look for strong security track records, scalability, and really clear, thorough documentation.
Documentation is key.
Always.
And security, 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 given those hack numbers.
It has to be paramount. Implement best practices. Multi-signature schemes for critical functions, time locks where appropriate, build skills in smart contract auditing, learn different testing methods, unit tests, integration tests, fuzz testing, use static analysis tools, set up real-time monitoring.
It's a continuous process.
Absolutely. And finally, just stay updated. This space evolves incredibly fast. Keep learning, keep track of emerging standards and security practices, and maintain good documentation for your own work. Vigilance is key.
And for you, the user, navigating this evolving landscape, what's the takeaway?
Be excited about the potential, definitely. Interoperability promises huge benefits, but also be aware of the remaining challenges.
Especially security risks with bridges.
Especially security with bridges, yeah. And the fact that the regulatory landscape is still evolving.
Yeah.
So critical thinking, doing your own research, and maintaining vigilance are crucial as you navigate this space.
But the overall trend is positive.
The overall trend is towards a future where your digital assets and the applications you use can interact much more seamlessly. It should simplify your experience and open up a whole new world of opportunities. We're just starting to scratch the surface.
What a journey. This deep dive really covered a lot of ground. We went from the core problem of fragmentation to the nuts and bolts of interoperability protocols, sidechains, bridges, atomic swaps. We looked at applications in DeFi, enterprise, asset management, even governance, and we confronted the very real challenges, especially security.
And then we zoomed in on that fascinating case study, Cardano and XRP, seeing how these distinct ecosystems are actively working together.
Yeah, through things like the OneChain Bridge, the Tokyo wallet integration, Flare Network's facets, bringing XRP to DeFi.
The XRPL EVM Sidechain adding smart contracts natively to that ecosystem.
And Cardano's ambitious Midnight sidechain with its privacy focus, its accessible language, and that huge Glacier Drop airdrop aiming to connect multiple communities, including XRP holders.
It shows these collaborations are about much more than just connecting tech pipes, right?
Definitely.
It's about fostering a more integrated, efficient, and accessible decentralized financial future. Moving beyond that blockchain tribalism we used to see.
Towards something more cooperative.
Yeah, cooperative economics in the digital realm.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. How will this relentless drive towards interconnection fundamentally change your relationship with digital assets? Will those lines between blockchains eventually just blur? Will you reach a point where you don't even need to know what chain you're using day to day?
Accessing a truly unified digital economy.
Exactly. What new possibilities does this internet of blockchains unlock for you, personally, in terms of financial freedom, privacy, control, innovation?
It's a lot to think about.
It really is. And as we've explored today, the journey is truly just beginning.